1, 2, 3, yeah! This is Amari Purple Talk. Yes. Today's episode of Amari Purple Talk is brought to you by the Stylistics People Make the World Go Round, the complete works of Gil Scott-Heron, and Parliament's Chocolate City, and the letters F-U-N-K. Welcome to episode 84 of Amari Purple Talk, a podcast where I share my thoughts on the Prince musical singularity. I'm Richard Cole, Imaginationist, comic book myth builder, and the Vic Sage of Funk. Thank you once again for tuning in. Please leave your comments in the comments section below, and please download on your favorite podcast platform. If you're listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And please continue to send your questions or topic suggestions for Amari Purple Talk. And how you can do that is by clicking the link in the show notes below, either the website link for Amari Communications, or by following me on Twitter at RichardCole_now, and that now is in all caps, using the hashtag Amari Purple Talk. And your topic or question might just be read in a future episode. And with that out of the way, let's start the show. We've got a lot to cover this episode. Originally, I was going to discuss the possibility of the most beautiful girl in the world lawsuit allegedly being settled, paving the way for the GOAT experience to finally being released one day. That is until last Wednesday and Thursday, when my Twitter started blowing up nonstop about two very special announcements. How exciting is it to be a Prince fan? I know I'm super excited. So let's get started. And I'm going to start with the first main topic, which is going to be about the Truth album, officially announced to be released on Record Store Day. This is an album that has been anticipated on Amari Purple Talk since I first suggested it get a standalone release back in episode 65. So for our listeners that have not been aware of the news, I'm going to read the official statement from the Prince estate. And that official statement reads, initially released as an accompaniment to Crystal Ball, Prince's acoustic album The Truth will be issued on vinyl for the very first time on June 12th, 2021 as a special Record Store Day release from Sony Legacy Records. All right, so this is finally getting its own release. It will be on vinyl. With its own album cover. If you kind of go on the Prince Estate website, you'll see some of the display work for it. The album cover, the inner sleeve. Looks like lyrics are accompanied with it. Looks like it's going to be a gatefold cover, which means it'll open out. Looks like into artwork for an acoustic guitar. Steve Park did the artwork for this album and the art direction as well. And this looks absolutely amazing. So by all means, seek this out and check it out. Again, check with your local record store. See if they are participating on Record Store Day. Or you can go on the official Record Store Day website, and it will give you a listing of participating record stores in your area. Right now we're slowly trying to reopen, but we still have a long way to go. So by all means, if you're not comfortable physically visiting your record store, some record stores may offer an online order option, May not be on that day, maybe the day after or a week after, but check to where you can get your copy because I'm excited for it. I know I'm definitely going to seek out my copy as well. And this is something I can't wait to have. I know for myself, just the last 2 years, I've been getting back into vinyl. You know, growing up in the 70s, of course, always had vinyl. But right around the mid 80s, as CD players became more prevalent, I know I got my very first CD player in 1987 and just kind of let vinyl go to the wayside. And then it was CDs and cassettes, and then finally just CDs. But since vinyl has been making that comeback, I've been slowly getting back into it. I know I lost like half of my vinyl collection. I don't know where it disappeared to. But just in the last couple of years, I've managed to recover, maybe about 70% of it, probably. But yeah, and as we discuss the Welcome to America release as well, but definitely for an album like The Truth, this is its first appearance that I'm aware of on vinyl. So I'm definitely anxious to add this to my Prince vinyl collection. And I know it's going to sound great. As for if we'll get a CD version of it, who knows? They may still bundle it with a Crystal Ball reissue. If they do, that's okay. But I would also prefer a standalone CD. But don't get it twisted, folks. I am definitely excited for this vinyl and cannot wait till June 12th to get my hands on my copy of it. So remember, The Truth, Record Store Day, June 12th, 2021. And now we're going to move on to the next topic, which is the official announcement of the release of the unreleased Welcome to America album. Recorded probably around 2010, parts of 2011. Originally intended to be an official album to accompany the Welcome to America tour. But the tour went as scheduled, but the album never saw the light of day. And, for Prince fans in America, it felt like that there was a very long time between releases. The last official release in the U.S. was Lotus Flower and, of course, Minneapolis Sound or MPLS Sound. 2010, you can only get in Europe, accompanied by, I forget the newspaper. I know I ordered mine. It was from British newspaper, I think. But that's how I was able to get my copy of 2010, was to order it from overseas. But for the mainstream or, not, Prince fans that weren't in the position to, buy a copy of the magazine to get the 2010 album, that was a long stretch and probably one of the longest stretches since 1983 where there was no new Prince product. So the anticipation for Welcome to America was there, but again, it didn't get released and kind of just sat in the vault, and we just kind of hoped it would see the light one day, and now it will. So July 30th will be the official release of Welcome to America. There are various versions. You have an option to purchase, so you don't feel obligated unless you're that serious, super serious collector and you're a completist and you have to have every single item, every color of vinyl. Don't feel obligated if you don't feel that way or if you're not in a position. You get the copy that best suits your listening needs. So which version should you get? Well, we're going to start with the Welcome to America Deluxe, which is a 2 LP and 1 CD and 1 Blu-ray set. And right now that's retailing roughly around $99, $95. You could probably get it cheaper if you order from Amazon, depending on where you live. But that's the deluxe version. If you check out the sort of product image of the album, you see it not only comes in vinyl, there's a CD, Blu-ray, lots of memorabilia that accompanies this deluxe release. But it looks good. I mean, it's on par, I think, with some of the, I would say maybe John Lennon reissues, although those kind of the Imagine and Plastic Ono Band stuff, it's closer in quality to, say, the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe set. But like I said, also you have all these little bonus things, booklet and photographs and, just other little nice surprises, that come along with your purchase. But again, this isn't bad to me. You get a Blu-ray, you get a CD, you get the vinyl and all the pictures. So that's the deluxe version. Another version is the Welcome to America 2 LP exclusive limited edition gold vinyl. And again, it roughly retails about maybe $29.98. But again, if you order from Amazon, sometimes if you pre-order, at some point the price does go down a little bit. So again, do what you feel is the best way, or even support your local record store. But yeah, it's gold vinyl, which is different from purple vinyl. Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing this when they release the gold experience one day. But let's see, moving on. Then you have like just the regular vinyl 2 LP, again, retailing at about $29.98. Next, we have the Welcome to America, just a single CD, for roughly about $11.98, $11 that is. And then finally we have the Welcome to America 7-inch exclusive limited edition gold vinyl single, which will have on the A side the studio version of the track Welcome to America, and then on the B side there'll be a live version that was part of a medley with the song Dreamer. So there you have it. So which version should you get? Again, like I said, do what you feel is best for your pockets or, your level of collectorship, if that's a word. If not, it will be an official Amari Purple Talk word. But, for me, I'm going to get the deluxe version of this. This way I can I'll have the vinyl, I'll have the CD along with the Blu-ray. And of course the Blu-ray will be live performance Blu-ray of one of the shows. I forget what the actual date of that particular show, but there is a set list of the tracks that you can check out. And this will be interesting because we've had the luxury now of having on DVD with some of these reissues or re-releases, some of the more well-known concert performances by Prince. The New Year's Eve, that was a big, wish list item for a lot of collectors to finally see that released. We also had the Prince and the Revolution Live. That's part of the Purple Rain Deluxe. Let's see, what is it? Oh, the 1999 Super Deluxe. We've had, again, another legendary concert. So those are kind of the, I don't know, I want to say not maybe no-brainers. But this is something that will be very interesting because it's, a much later Prince. And I think it's about time that, an era like this gets its shine. This was a very great decision, in my opinion, for, the estate or Michael Howe or Troy Carter, for whoever made the call to start to focus on this. Because between this and also The Truth, which was, maybe 5-6 years earlier, so we're talking like 1997, 98 for that album. And then here we have a 2011 era or 2011-ish album that fans can listen to and enjoy. And, again, to me, it just shows the versatility. We all have our favorite eras of Prince. Some of us, enjoy the bookends, beginning to end, everything in between. Some of us focus on just the 80s. Some of us just focus on the 90s. Some of us just focus on whatever happened in 2010 or 2014. And that's okay. Again, Prince is one of those few artists to where you have the luxury of quality material that spans decades. And I mean, never mind about an artist's classic period. Again, I think last episode pointed out several examples of an artist, that has been around for decades. And the beauty of it is that, you can go to the classic period when everything was number one on the charts or, they just couldn't do any wrong. And then you sort of have those albums that are just personal to you. That's a later period. Whether the mainstream got the idea or not, or whether the fan base got it or not. It's an album that speaks exclusively to you. And that's okay. And that's cool to do that. So I'm glad that in this case, we're getting that. And for me, thinking about where I was 2010, 2011, 2012, it's like my focus, I couldn't focus on what Prince was doing as closely for various reasons. And, I missed out on the whole Welcome to America tour. And I was, like, well, is it going to come to St. Louis? No, it didn't make it here. But, just seeing certain, limited to certain clips on YouTube. And, that kind of came and went because, that was when Prince was locking everything down on YouTube. So this is something that I'm looking forward to experiencing. I even didn't, once this was announced, I didn't bother checking for anything from this period. I've noticed there's stuff up on the different Monterey Jazz Festival performances, whether they're from 2009 or whether they're from 2013. I've been kind of checking those out, and it's like, those things need, I can't wait for those to start coming out on Blu-ray, those eras. But I'm keeping away from this one because I want to dive into the Blu-ray fresh and just experience it and see what it was that I actually missed. Because there was a statement behind the tour, and it would have been nice to have the album, which, we'll discuss the concept and, maybe some of the tracks a little bit later. But yeah, I'm excited to experience the album, experience the Blu-ray, and, wonder in some cases, wow, it would have been nice to have had this in 2011 or 2012 or whenever it was supposed to drop. Yeah, so for me, again, the deluxe version will be the version that I'm getting. And I also pre-ordered the 7-inch single. So I'm looking forward to hearing that. And I got that mainly for the live version that's on the B-side. Because I don't think that Welcome to America is performed on the Blu-ray. at all. So that would be something to look forward to in having that experience as well. But there is the studio version of Welcome to America that is available on all of your streaming platforms. That was dropped as an advanced track not long after the announcement was made that this album was coming out. So I've had a chance to listen to this over and over, and I dig this track. I've heard some rumblings that it does have kind of a Rainbow Children vibe to it, and yeah, I can see that. But there's a lot of other things I hear in it also. I hear the stylistics. People make the world go round. I hear lots of Gil Scott-Heron in this. And by all means, if you cats don't know who Gil Scott-Heron is, gone and check him out. I mean, poet supreme and funky. So definitely check that out if you're not aware of who Gil Scott-Heron is, and you'll kind of see what the influence on this particular track is. And again, stylistics. People know Betcha by Golly Wow, and, You Make Me Feel Brand New, and Stone in Love with You. Those are my joints too. But you got to check out People Make the World Go Round. 70s, we kind of had, we were on that conscious tip. We've had what's going on. We've had the complete 70s output of Stevie Wonder, and, the Temptations and the Stylistics, occasionally they would have tracks on their albums that was heavy on social commentary. And, I think a lot of that is needed now, and not just the glorification of what the problems are, but shining a light the way it was back then, and hopefully at the same time offering solutions, which was, Prince's mission statement throughout his career. But again, like I said, lots of the stylistics. People Make the World Go Round, Gil Scott-Heron, Parliament's Chocolate City. This is what I hear when I hear Welcome to America. And that is, right there, just this track alone is like, yeah, I cannot wait for this to drop. And as far as some of the other tracks on it, you can see what the titles are. A couple of them we'll talk about because they were previewed on the episode of 60 Minutes that aired actually not long after I started recording, or actually before it aired before I started recording this episode. So other tracks are Running Game, Son of a Slave Master, Born to Die, 1,000 Light Years from Here. Some of these tracks have been somewhat released, whether it was on one of Prince's old websites or what was that? Some of them I think might have been, just released maybe via the Third Eye Girl website. Let's see, maybe the Lotus Flower website when it was still up and running. But something like Hot Summer, same page, different book. Those two tracks had briefly been in circulation. Let's see what else we have. We have Yes. We have One Day We'll All Be Free. Check the Record. So some pretty interesting titles, and it from the what I'm getting from the titles. Again, this is an album that might have had heavy social commentary, and for whatever reason he chose not to release it. A lot of times, I don't know if he was conscious of it, or that was just the power of his spirit during his lifetime. There's a lot of things he called the shots on, that somewhere down the line, whether it was a few years or 10 years later, the world had to deal with what was happening. So I don't know, if he was well versed, or well read to connect the dots, which is something I like to do as well, politically, spiritually, historically. And sometimes you could just see the writing on the wall with some things. But for this album to sit and then for it to come out at this particular time, especially with everything happening in Minneapolis right now, and not just there, but just across the country, everything that we've experienced just over the last 5 years, it's one of those healing albums. Again, it's the social commentary, but it's not a glorification of the problem, a sensationalization of the problem. This is like, hey, understand this is what's happening. And a lot of what's happening it just ain't cool. And we as a people have to come together and do something about it. Whether that's in your power to vote, whether that is getting deeper into your spiritual self, becoming the best person you can be, and being in a position to affect more positive changes in life. But again, it's Prince utilizing his music to make a difference on that level. And if it inspires you, or in the words of Tupac, if it can just spark the brain of the person that can start the next movement, then yeah, that's, it's needed and it's relevant. And, that type of thing, I've seen a lot of people on social media complaining about the people that are complaining about this release. And like I said before, everybody has their favorite era. And music is subjective. What you like, I might not like. What I like, you might not like. But that's okay. And, realize there's 7 billion of us on this planet pretty much trying to get to the same direction. And we're going about it, for the most part, 7 billion different ways. And while we can disagree, the thing is that we have to get to a level to where that disagreement is not detrimental to another person's very existence. And also just bringing it back to a musical taste level. Yeah, I mean, if you don't understand the motivation of why a song or an album or a choice of songs on an album doesn't necessarily speak to your individual experience, then that is the time to take the time to understand that other person's or that other individual's experience, so you see what it means to them. And that's just what it comes down to. If you're sitting around going, oh, it's all this black stuff, then you've missed the point altogether. Again, if it doesn't speak to your individual experience, then if you're a person that has positivity, or if you have love in your heart, then understand that there's a lot of other people out there that this album will speak to and succeed. And like I said, it'll be a healing process. It'll be a thing to let that person know that they're not going through this alone. Then by all means, don't put other people down for celebrating this period or celebrating that era. You ain't got to buy it. Save your pennies. Don't worry. That 80s retrospective will come right back our way. Or eventually we will get the gold experience. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Or if you just, are in it for the guitar riffs, don't worry. That your album is coming. It's, there's decades of material for everybody. So don't worry about it. But, don't put anybody else down. Again, remember, this is the Prince musical singularity. We're all celebrating the genius and the artist of Prince. So I'm just going to punctuate it with the words of Felipe Wynn from his Vamp on Knee Deep. Look, just make no mistake. This funky music's got what it takes to move you sometimes, knock you down, make you want to turn around and do it one more time. Hey. So, let's just enjoy the music. The estate's doing the best that they can over much adversity. We can't bring the brother back. And we'll touch on the philosophy behind what his wishes were during his lifetime, and in regards to the vault, what they are now. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But like I say, let's enjoy this album. Like I said, we got The Truth. That's 2 new albums that's dropping this year. And we haven't gotten to the end of the year yet, because I'm sure they'll announce something for the Christmas rush. So again, and that might be something that'll be coming your way, and you get to celebrate that. It's like, hey, trust me, hey, when that Planet Earth Super Deluxe drops, depending on what's on it, I'm still going to drop my purple ducats on it, my purple croutons, but that might be the one I might sit out on. But, I'm gonna let y'all celebrate. And like I said, there'll be probably a Twitter thread or something going on that'll make me see it in a different light. And I'll go, okay, all right, I get what you get out of it. And that's the beauty of learning through disagreement in a peaceful way. All right, so moving right along. Pull up my notes. All right, here we go. Okay, so if you hadn't had a chance to check out the segment on 60 Minutes, check it. I'm sure it is up on YouTube. So by all means, if you haven't seen that, go check it out now. And then if you want to, come back and pick up the show where you left off, because there will be spoilers. So again, this will be the spoiler part of the show. The 60-minute segment. And that was brilliant from a marketing standpoint. Again, for them to seek out 60 Minutes, props to Troy Carter for coming up. I'm sure he was the one that came up with that, along with maybe Michael Howell, or Michael Howell said, okay, cool, by all means, this is a good way to promote the record. Given, again, what's been going on in the world, especially in the last year, this is an album, again, that I feel it has to be out. It has to be released. And again, whatever divine intervention that went back to 2011 and said, Prince, don't put this out, sit on it, it's going to have its time. And like I said, I think he was aware of that with a lot of material in the vault. But with everything that's going on in the world, especially this past year, what's been going on with the trial and everything this week, to have people aware of this album, aware of Prince, aware that he was from Minneapolis, again, it might bring some more people to the table of understanding. Like, what's going on? Like, Prince was from there and this happened from where he lived, or whatever it is you thought about Minneapolis, even if you've never been a Prince fan or anything like that, the fact that something like that exists, yes, in a city like Minneapolis. Yeah, I think this was definitely a brilliant marketing move on that. I mean, the estate and the representatives of the Prince estate, they get a standing ovation for this right here. And, the they focused, Morris Hayes was the spokesperson. He was chosen to represent because he helped co-produce this album and best qualified to talk about this album, how it was made, the creative process of Prince, how he worked together, with Prince and the other members of the New Power Generation. Shelby J was chosen to represent too. Again, brilliant move on that part, because I feel that was also important. Again, like I said, I grew up in the 80s. A lot of that material was my high school, college years. And yeah, there's a nostalgia there. There's sentiment that's there. But it doesn't matter how much Purple Rain fell during that time period. And it doesn't matter how much Michael Jackson moonwalked all over the planet at that point. Damn it, there was I was on the receiving end of some racism during some of those times too. So, like I said, the representation here was very important. Very important. And, I tried to take a few notes here of some of the key points from that segment. They previewed the track Check the Record, which, just a little snippet was funky as hell. And that just added to my excitement for this album. Again, like I said, 2010, 2011, 2012. I mean, yeah, still keeping up on what Prince was doing at that time. But I'll tell you, between the title track and just the snippet of Check the Record, I am damn excited for this era. I might do a top 10 of eras at some point, but anyway, but yeah, that track, that was funky. The common thread, whether it was Morris Hayes or Shelby J, when the question was put forth about the material in the vault and if Prince ever felt like this stuff will ever be released one day, the common thread, and there's also an interview or two with Prince, you can probably seek it out on YouTube somewhere, where he said this, basically the common thread is that someday this will see the light of day. And not just talking about that album, but a lot of things in the vault in general. And I don't think it's so much of Prince, always focusing on what's happening now. I think there is a little bit of that, but one of the takeaways after watching this segment is it's pointed out, again, there's no will. There was no current wife to reap the benefits and call the shots. There's no Yoko Ono in this equation like John Lennon has. Or, there's no Olivia Harrison in the picture. There's no Sean Lennon. There's no Danny Harrison to call the shots for Prince. If you get where I'm going with this. There's no current wife in the equation. There are no children in that equation. And I think maybe him coming to that realization or coming to that reality, saying that, well, hey, this stuff is going to come out because I'm not going to be the one calling the shots. I won't be in control of it anymore. So long as he was around, he was there to ensure that whatever the current project was, whatever spirit moved him to make music, I think that was the thing that led to certain decisions of, let's shelve this album. Again, like I said, and two, being such a thinking man's artist, to where okay, yeah, this is a pretty good piece of work. And I might just sit on this for a while because one day there'll be a time when this album will be needed, or this track will be needed. And what about Troy Carter being part of this segment as well? Watching him on the episode, I always called Michael Howell the Kevin Feige of the Prince musical singularity, or the Prince musical universe. Well, if Michael Howell is the Kevin Feige, definitely in this particular case, Troy Carter is the Alan Horn of this equation. So anybody that knows anything about Disney, Alan Horn is the guy that tells Kevin Feige what to do, tells the people that, Kevin Feige of Marvel tells Marvel what to do. He tells Lucasfilm what to do, Pixar what to do, Disney what to do as far as the films go. And darn it, yep, Troy Carter to me is the Alan Horn of the Prince musical universe. So he's, definitely a good representative, I think, in this case. Great question about having a plan. Apparently, I guess they had an initial plan set up, but in his own words, just when they thought they had a plan, there was always a surprise. And they utilized the piano and microphone 1983 as an example of one of those surprises. And I think, when it comes to something like a Welcome to America, I think that was a surprise. I don't think that was the intent for 2021. But again, given everything that's happened, I think by the time they did mention the archiving process at Iron Mountain, I do think that by the time they got to Welcome to America, like, well, what's this? Oh, this sounds good. It's, and it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's more recent than A Sign of the Times. And I think that, thank God we do have A Sign of the Times set that's out, and we can experience that. But this is a nice surprise. It's a full, complete album of tracks that most of us haven't heard before. And it just fits right into 2021. Can't say that enough. So, again, that was pretty good having Troy Carter be part of that segment and to kind of break down the inner workings of how they pick these projects. Another track that was leaked in this segment was Born to Die. And I watched the segment on 60 Minutes, and then they also have some extra stuff if you go to like their 60 Minutes website or their 60 Minutes YouTube page. And there's additional interview material with Morris Hayes and Shelby J about Welcome to America and about the Welcome to America tour also. But the discussion about Born to Die, because I had a chance to, in that segment, really kind of listen to the snippet, and I'm like, oh man, that's got some Curtis Mayfield flavor to it. And just when I thought that, Morris Hayes drops the story about how Cornel West said, well, Prince, you're good, but Curtis Mayfield. And you can see Prince, what? I'll show you, and knocks out this track. And so I can't wait to hear this in its entirety, because again, that sort of Curtis Mayfield, it's all over this track. Again, social commentary, just the funkiness, the earthiness of it. The fact that there are musicians playing on this album. It's worth a listen, and if anything else, that's the thing. Give it a listen. Let's stop. Oh, well, it's not the 80s. I don't want to listen to it. Or, oh, it's not 1994. I don't want to listen to it. Oh, it's not Artificial Age. I don't want to listen to it. Let's just stop all of that and just give it a chance. Just give it a listen. Again, if it doesn't speak to you as an individual, like I said, this is Prince. Trust me, there will be something that will come around your way, but let's not be negative towards people that enjoy the period that they enjoy with that. And so that's it. That's Welcome to America. The truth is coming. Woo. And, let's not forget that, because there's a couple of deep things on that as well. This is Prince full artist mode. And not just a name only. It's Prince, and it's like he's got something to say. It's not just it's not just pillow talk on this record, or these two records. It's some heavy stuff, and then mature, not in a R-rated whatever, mature audiences only type of mode, but mature as in where he was, Dirty Mind controversy 1999 to where he was 1998 and 2011. He done took us on a whole nother level. And it would be nice, like I said, as far as 1998, revisiting the truth, diving back into that again, this time on vinyl. And even if a CD doesn't surface, I'll probably do a YouTube segment, the vinyl versus the CD from Crystal Ball, if nothing else. Like I said, I'll also do a review of the Welcome to America album once it drops, and maybe give my thoughts on the Blu-ray too. So again, that's July 30th for Welcome to America, June 12th for The Truth on Record Store Day. Again, let's support our local record stores. This pandemic has hit businesses, especially small businesses, mom and pop places. They've been hit hard, and they need our support. So when so go to your record store, or if you don't go to your record store, order online from your record store, and by all means, let's give them a little hand, folks. So what's most important is, what do you think? Are you looking forward to both of these releases? Are they going to be your favorites? Or, hey, what are you anticipating? What would you like to see out? Leave me a comment. Again, make it a topic or question, and, I'll make it the main topic of a future episode. What album would you like to see? I also do segments on bootleg wish lists, like, what popular bootleg or your favorite bootleg that you would like to see the estate release one day. Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. So thank you for sharing your time by listening to this episode. Please be sure to also check out the Prince Lyrics podcast. That's actually Press Rewind, Prince Lyrics podcast. I'm a guest on the latest episode discussing the track Love or Money. So by all means, check that out. I've got a link in the show notes, so you can check that out, plus a lot of other episodes of his. Again, thanks, Jason, for having me on the show. And you can also support or show your support for Amari Purple Talk by either purchasing Amari Communications merchandise with items including, but not limited to, Amari Purple Talk t-shirts, mugs, and masks, and also We Funk t-shirts. Or you can simply make a Cash App donation for any amount you wish. Links are in the show notes or in the button of the Amari Communications channel banner on YouTube. So, thanks for tuning in to this episode. Till next week, be safe, be peaceful, be wild, not too wild, but keep it purple and on the one.